And that's totally fine. As long as I get it soon, that would be great. Because I know sometimes when you get into that art, you do need a little bit of time. So that's totally fine. And let me respond. Okay. All right. So one more time, put your name in the chat if you haven't already. And then what I'm going to do, I don't have the agenda up on the calendar for some reason, but I will update that. What we're going to do is I just wanted to review what we did last class and then go over the next project that we're going to do. It's not really a project. It's more like an activity with typography that I think is actually really cool because I talked to you about how fonts have personalities. So now we're really going to dive into that. So let me take a look at the calendar and what we did last class. So, and this is just in case you were not here on the 13th. Let me pull that up really quick. Share screen. Okay. So once again, if you missed class, I usually put the Zoom video up so you can review what we did. This is what we did on Tuesday. There was a typography project with instructions, and this is where you turn it in. I also have it there in the modules, but I am going to, oh, I accidentally clicked on it. I'm going to go back. I'm just going to copy the link to this assignment and put it in the calendar for today, just in case you didn't turn it in yet. It's easy to get to, but I'll do that after we get done with class. But what I was going to do with you today is I want to talk about, let me pull it up. Which tab? There we go. I think it's this one. No, I always have a billion tabs open. That's Zoom. That's Canvas. Here we go. Okay, so here's project 2, and I need to blow it up a little bit. So what we're gonna do, and I'm going to adapt this for the fact that we can't do it on a computer, but looking at words and looking at fonts, I want us to think about and come up with 5 or 6 words where we could visually represent the actual meaning of the word. So for example, displace. Usually, you know, the definition of displace means that you, like for example, when someone gets displaced, they're moved out of their home, which is not where they're supposed to be. So displace, the way that we made the example for that definition is this, and this makes sense, right, visually, because the top half of the word shouldn't be shifted over. And then confused, this is not how you spell confused, but what happened was we swapped some of the letters, but in our minds we read it as confused. So we swapped some of the letters, and we also flipped the, what I would say is you could probably flip some of these letters to be in the opposite direction too, but it kind of represents the definition of confused. I also like this one that says echo, echo, echo. It visually represents how an echo gets softer as it goes on. And then hiccup, whenever you hiccup, it's like a kind of thing. And so the I was pulled up. So this is kind of fun. It's what graphic designers do, is their challenge is to visually represent something in a clear and concise manner and do it in a way that's interesting, right? So what you're going to do is you're actually going to choose 5 words, and you're going to sketch out the meaning of them visually by just using the letters. So, oops, I'm not trying to zoom in here, but it's zooming in. Oops. I think someone's unmuted. Let me see. There we go. Perfect. Because I was like, am I echoing? Okay, so what you're going to do is you are going to explore the expressive word meaning of a word. I was trying to read it. I don't know why this is so small. There we go. Avoid simply repeating the words or creating an illusion from letter forms. The best solution not only enhance the word's meaning, but are clever and aesthetically pleasing. Sometimes an unexpected effect can be achieved when the typographic solution contradicts the meaning of the word. So setting the word big with small type, for example, sometimes that's fun. The type style you choose is important to the message, and the manipulation of the letter forms should always convey the meaning. So the instructions here are a little bit different. We're going to stop where it says to make this in the computer because we don't have the ability to use Illustrator for everyone. So the first step is to brainstorm and make a list of words that lend themselves to visual representation. So adjectives and verbs work best. So, you know, a verb like running or jumping or I don't know, any other verb that an action that you can think of is easy to visually represent. Try to move past obvious words like drop that have been done many times for this assignment. Feel free to use a thesaurus or dictionary. You may also want to brainstorm with a classmate. So if you know anyone in class, it might be good to do that. Choose 5 of the words from your brainstorming exercise and begin to produce at least 10 thumbnails for each word. So what you're going to do, it's going to end up looking like this. Let's take a little field trip, shall we? Okay. Oh, sorry. The windows that I have over there are really, really bright. So the light is reflecting on the whiteboard, and I hope that you will be able to see this. So how I recommend, and you don't have to do it exactly how I recommend it, but this is just to like model for you. So here is a sheet of paper, and I would, you could just brainstorm on a separate sheet of paper, that's totally fine, to write down the words. But when you choose your 5 words out of all the words, I would write them here. So like pickup, what was the other one? Confused, displace. Obviously, you'll want to write smaller than me so that you can actually see all of the words at the top. Let's see, hold on. Let me go to chat really quick. Yeah, if you have access to Illustrator, that's totally fine. But Jane, I might have to work with you after class to show you how to create outlines with font. I'm not sure if you've done that before, but for this project, usually I show students how to do what's called creating outlines. And that allows you to manipulate text as if it were an object, because normally you can't affect text until you convert it to a vector. And then, yes, and then you will have to turn in the thumbnails. So like the final sketches, essentially. So what's gonna happen is, for example, the word hiccup, I am going to redraw this 10 times. So I know that sounds a little bit intimidating, but hear me out. So I might do HICCUP, and then I might redraw it again where I have the I, and then the I, or I'm sorry, the H, the I, the C, the U, the P. That sounds like a song. Let me make it a little bit closer. There we go. So you can see that you can just redraw it multiple times. And I would also try to draw different font styles too. And I know that seems like a lot, but remember the two main fonts are serif and sans serif. So these are sans serif, meaning they don't have feet. And if I wanted to draw a serif font, all I have to do is just add what would look like the little feet to my fonts. And then it is a serif font. And then sometimes a script font might work better. So say I do something like that, where it's in cursive. Sometimes that works well. But I want you to experiment and play with the different kind of fonts and draw them as best as you can. Of course, I'm not expecting them to look like a computer-generated font, but the whole point is to visually represent the meaning of the word. And sometimes different fonts and font styles work better with that word and that meaning than others. So like for hiccup, I definitely wouldn't use cursive. It just doesn't work for that, at least in my mind. So at least I tried it, right? So you can see that. But yeah, so you're gonna do that word 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need to do it 5 more times. So I'll have hiccup, 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 and then do the same thing with the other 4 words. And that's all I'm looking for that. So does that make sense to you guys? Hopefully. So I am gonna have you doing this on paper. So if you wanted to do it on your Chromebook, that's totally fine with me too. And you can use pencil, pen, whatever you want. I just need to make sure that I can see it. So if you do it in pencil and you draw really light, just make sure you take a photo of it and in natural light or good light. Otherwise, it's hard for me to see graphite on paper if you're really, really light. And I'm totally fine with you writing and drawing light. I just need to make sure I can see it. And then Madden, besides the fonts, what's the difference between the 10 examples? So that's up to you. So for me, I just did a brainstorm of the different ways that I could write hiccup, and you could see that I put the I up on this one, and then I put the IC up on that one, and I made the U and the P a lot bigger than the rest of the letters here. And then I did a different font with this one as well. So I want you to problem solve and try to think of what are multiple ways that I can visually represent the meaning of this word. And that's what a graphic designer does. Like a graphic designer has someone come to them and says, hey, I really want you to do a witty design of this word so that we can put it on a poster or we can put it on a marketing campaign. And your job is to visually problem solve and think about what would be a cool way to visually represent this for my client. And that's like the true job of a graphic designer, is to be creative and think about different ways to visually represent something that that might be boring in another situation. Yes, you choose your own words. Don't use the words that I have on the example. I want you to brainstorm your own words. So you can look up a thesaurus, you can type into Google, list out verbs or list out adjectives. so that you have a list of words to choose from. And then you're going to pick a few, at least 5, and you're going to create this from your list of 5 words. So you'll end up having 10 different versions of each. So you'll have 50. So 10 different versions of my first word, 10 different versions of my second word, and so on. Okay, any questions about that? I tend to talk a lot. Do we also turn in a separate document of the ones we like best? Yeah, so you turn in just the 50, yes. Because I want to see all of the different versions that you make. Because for me, this allows me to see that you went through that creative design process with the words. And it's really nice to see that, especially as a client too, so you can see all the different versions. Yeah. Daniel, wait, we gotta do 50? Yeah, because you choose 5 words. So I didn't put 5 words up here, but word, word. And then you do, on paper, you do 10 versions of each word. So that's why I'm giving today and tomorrow to do this, so that you have time to like sketch it out. And the number 50 sounds scary, but when you think about it, if you do 10 versions of the word hiccup, like that's not really bad. And then you go to your next word and go and try and do 10 different versions. And writing down words, like the text, isn't super scary. It is kind of hard when you're doing it on the computer. That takes a long time because you have to edit each individual letter. So I usually give kids less, but for this, you are just drawing. So this is going to be due on Monday morning before we start class, because I'm giving you the rest of this class and tomorrow to work on this, because I really want you to take your time and make it neat and really think about how to make each word different. So we're gonna have a check-in tomorrow, gonna answer any questions. And then on Monday, we're gonna start something new. We're gonna go a little bit more in depth on typography. Okay. All right. Anyone else have any questions? Okay, if you just joined us, or I can't tell if someone just joined us, make sure that you put your name in the chat box so that I can count you as here. But if you have no other questions, you can go ahead and get started on this. Please turn in the assignment from last class, which was that typography letter assignment where you're overlaying letters. And then for the typography drawing project, do I have to use different fonts for each overlay? Yes, yeah. And hopefully different sizes too. So you could use like a serif font that's big and bold, like this. So Ryder is asking me about the last project that we started on Tuesday or Monday? I think Tuesday. So what you could do is you could have like a big A, and then that's a sans serif. And then you could have a little B, like that. That is a little bit thinner. And then you could have the letter C. Obviously, I want you to use your initials plus a couple other letters, because if everyone did ABC, then it would be boring. But yeah, so try and do a different font for each one. And that might mean that you make one bold and one thin, because it's hard to draw tons of different fonts at this point. Okay, any other questions? Okay, I'm gonna go look at the stuff that you've turned in for the last assignment so I can see. I'm excited to look at that. And then if you have any other questions, just email me, okay? All right, go ahead, hop off and get started, and I'll be around if you have any questions. Jane, I will work with you on creating an outline really quick in Illustrator. Hopefully this computer has Illustrator on it. It does.
I'm gonna go grab my laptop that has Illustrator on it. I think it's
Sounds good. Okay, Illustrator's just taking a little bit of time to load. Sign in.
Okay. I found it. Why will you not turn on? I'm pretty sure this has Illustrator. I don't know if it just has Photoshop.
It says that Illustrator quit unexpectedly. I'm gonna try and open it up on my other computer. Oh, it didn't quit. It's working. Okay, hold on. Let me go ahead and make a new document.
Okay, my computer's being really slow, so I don't won't. Why is it being stupid? What's going on? I don't know. It just is a black screen and my cursor. It won't let me
Oh.
do anything.
I can show you how to do it and it will be recorded to video so you can go back and watch it again if you want.
Okay.
Okay. I'm just gonna get my other computer going in case this one poops out.
I don't know why this one isn't working. Oh, got something. Move it back in. Did I do something? Oh, turned it off. There we go.
Let me know when you get Illustrator up.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this computer is Illustrator. If it doesn't, I have one upstairs, but you can just tell me what to press, and I'm sure my mom will know something.
Oh yeah, I'm sure this is like a basic thing.
Yeah, why is it updating? Okay, my computer is not working. It's updating. I don't know why.
Let me share with you because it's like super straightforward, honestly. Okay, so I'm gonna share Illustrator. So here's what the workspace looks like. And we go over here to the type tool, and you're just going to click and drag. A lot of the students in the past, they'll make a mistake where they just click, and what you want to do is click and drag to make a text box. And then you're going to write out your letter, or your word, sorry. And you might want to make it a little bit bigger just so we can see. So to make your text bigger, you go to character, and then, there we go. Okay, so you make your text or your word in whatever size you want and whatever font you want. So I'm totally fine with, I'll just go with that one. And then what you do, what people always miss, the step that they always miss, is that you need to get off of the type tool and click one of these selection tools, like click the arrow up here. And that makes sure that you can actually convert it. So click the arrow after you're done manipulating your text, and then you go up to the very top menu where it says type, and then you hit create outlines.
Okay, so select type and then outlines.
Yep, and then what that does is it turns your text into actual vectors so that you can, like say if I want to just grab the I and move it up, I now have full control and manipulation over the font itself. This is also really cool, and you want to use the white arrow for this. It's called the direct selection tool. And you can click on a letter and you see all of these anchor points. You can actually click once to select it, and then click and drag again and manipulate the text itself, which is actually really fun. And that's why I'm so sad that we can't do this in class, because you can actually manipulate the text even more. The other thing that's really fun is cutting text. So how I cut text is I actually will use what's called the shape builder tool. And you can go in, and I'll use the rectangle tool to make a shape. And then, so I put the shape over whatever it is I want to cut, and then I select both of them using the arrow. And then I will use this tool. It's called the shape builder tool, and it's kind of weird, but it's super useful. And then I'll go in and I'll click on whatever it is I want to cut, and I'll click once. So now it is cut, and I'll hit delete, and then that shape is cut in half. And this is just the way that I do it. I know other people do it different ways, but I like to take a shape and put it over where I want a cut, and the line of the shape makes the cut. But you have to make sure that you select the shape as well as the letter. So they're both selected, and then I go to the shape builder tool and I just click once, and then it makes that cut right there. Then I click off of it with the arrow, click on that shape, hit delete, and then voila, it's cut. So that's the other thing that I usually show students how to do, so that if you want to cut a shape, or I'm sorry, if you want to cut a letter, you are able to. But for the most part, all you need to do is create outlines, turn your text into an outline, and then you can manipulate it typically however you want. But yeah, that's all I got. I'm gonna stop sharing.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So what I'll do is I'll end this Zoom, and it's going to take probably 20-25 minutes for it to upload to YouTube because it's a longer video, but just scroll to the end and you'll be able to re-watch this.
Okay.
Okay, well, good luck with your computer.
Yeah, it's working now, but
Okay,
yeah.
are you able to get Illustrator up?
Yes, so I have it open, just let me. see. I don't know. It has one of my mom's things open, so I like don't want to touch it because I don't want to delete
Yeah.
anything. But
So what you can do, let me show you, is to make a new document, you go up to File and then New,
okay, yeah, there it is.
and you can just make a regular 8.5 by 11 like letter size document. And then just hit Create. And it should look something like this.
Yep.
Cool. And then you grab your text tool, create a text box. And when you want to move stuff around, like say you want to move the text box around, just go over to that black arrow tool and it allows you to move boxes of text around.
Mhm.
Cool. Do you want to try it out while I'm here with you or?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. Cool. All right, I'll hop off of here. You good?
Mhm.
Okay, cool. All right, well, have fun with that. Okay, bye.